Don't you know that the music should be soft?
Well. Look who it is. Now, for all you beauties and bruises out there who don't know what Justin Tordella looks like, or JT, we like to call him, there he is right there. Welcome, JT.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here this week.
What's going on, little brother? You're the producer of this crazy fucking show that we've been doing for over 2.5 years now. How do you feel about all that, Justin?
Feels good. It's strange as we get toward the end. Sometimes it felt like it would never end, good or bad.
Isn't that the truth, bro? I mean, Justin, you've been there since day one. Today is really dedicated to you, little brother, because Theo, who's just completely missing from this broadcast, he's completely useless because he's so busy. I think he's in Chi-Town, isn't he?
Yeah,
Justin?
I think so. I saw him this weekend for the 4th. We went over to his house. He didn't ask me about doing the podcast on the weekend. I think he knew in person I'd say no.
Yeah, he knew that if he didn't wrangle you to the ground like a steer, you basically would say no. So we're really glad that he didn't do that for you to have the chance to say no.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, you saw him at his house, huh? How was it?
It was great. It was I've been there to the new place once or twice before. It's real nice. There are a ton of kids, ton of craziness.
So much fun, right?
Yeah.
How did the dogs do with the fireworks? Do we know at all?
I'm not sure. I know their city didn't do any, I don't think. And I think the neighborhood they live in, there's a lot of livestock and stuff. So I think mostly their neighbors probably didn't do any, but I haven't heard.
Well, that's terrific because you produce this show, Justin. And for the millions of listeners out there, you know who Justin is, and he produces this fucker. So he hears every stupid thing that Theo and I talk about. And yet the thing that we do care about are animals so much. And we really discussed about my dog. She's gone now, Tara, but we had to wrap her in a blanket and put her in a closet. And those fireworks are just brutal on animals, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But hopefully it wasn't an issue here. There were fireworks all day, every day for 3
all
days
day, every day. Welcome to Texas.
That's right. That is right. I've only got a cat. She doesn't care about anything, so it doesn't matter.
Do cats care about anything ever?
No, not at all. No.
I mean, come on, right? Who would be the cat on Sons of Anarchy? I wonder if that would be like who would that be, Justin? Like on all the wacky characters that we've come across, who would be the cat? I mean, it's not really fair to say they don't care about anything, but they really are in their own heads, right? They don't fucking listen to anything. You can't train them.
Nah. They've got their own thing going on.
They got their own thing going on. They sure do. Well, we'll come back to that. So I'm dealing with a little chest cold. I know Diane is too. I've been traveling all over the world, and I guess now that masks are off and COVID's still flying around, I guess people are getting sick now with colds and shit like that. So how are you feeling? How are you doing at your beautiful house?
A little rough today. The past couple of days, got some kind of cold going on. We're still doing the masks when we go out, just because. I almost prefer it. People are, especially kids, they're always sick. I don't need their germs, so I should wear one in the house.
Exactly.
But no, I think I'm on the way back up. Hopefully. So
yeah, well, you are. Well, you look good. Yeah. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this came about because, I mean, as you know, Justin, we are coming to the end, and I want to ask you a few things before we get into those incredible questions from some of our Beauty Sam fans out there. But I got to tell you that when Theo and I didn't put my teeth in today. See that, kids? I left my denture out.
Exclusive.
Yeah, the exclusive. If you've got this on Patreon, you can see Coatsy without his denture because he lost those 2 teeth when I was doing that movie down in the South. And I wanted to keep them out today. So I had a nice little list for you.
It's perfect.
And Yeah, full frontal. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, yeah, I get my first implant in a couple of weeks. Well, here we go.
Incredible.
But I remember, Justin, when we started thinking about doing this, right? A couple of years ago, over 2 years ago, and you were in instrumental and Caesar with his stuff, his incredible merchandise, and me and Theo having to look at every goddamn show. I remember clocking it, Justin, and kind of thinking that maybe we would be done around May of this year, or April. Yeah. And then you were completely in the front row going, wait a minute. People love interviews. People love talking to the peeps. So let's go over, like, how many beautiful people have we been able to talk to, would you say, over the last couple of years on this show, Justin? Roughly.
Oh boy. I'd say, there were a couple before the ReaperReviews started, less than a dozen, I think. But I think since, going to the kind of Reaper only format, we've done, I'd say maybe 8, somewhere around there. I'd have to check to be sure, but when it comes to having people from the show,
I think that's right. So whether it's like 8, 10, 11, whatever it's been, before you knew it, May turned into June, June's turned into July. And now, not that we're dragging this out, because Coatsy's got to move on. I got shit to do. I got to lose some weight. I got to get some new teeth. I'm going to start reading my Batman comics again, Justin. I've had time to do any of that shit. So I know you and Rossi have stuff up your sleeve, but let's talk about you. I want to know, bro, like, what's this been like for you? Like, take your time. What's this been like for you?
It's been interesting. I think especially because, so I came on close to the beginning. In the beginning, it was Theo. He had Caesar do all the artwork. Carolyn did all the editing for the audio. And then there was another producer. And this was back when Theo was doing interviews with, other celebrities and stuff, not involved with SONS.
You're talking about the Theory Pod, that Theory Pod?
Yes, the Theory Pod, yeah.
Yeah.
And, Theo came to me. We had, been friends for years, worked on some other projects together, with Boot Campaign and all that.
That's right.
And he came to me and said, he noticed not many podcasts had video. So we should do some video for these. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, sure. I had no idea what I was doing.
Hysterical.
Never.
You're the perfect candidate.
In my life. I think so, because I fit in with him, because he didn't know what he's doing either.
No.
So I think eventually, and I don't think this is telling any secrets here, I think he got sick of doing the interviews. I think the ones that we do now are different because it's people deeply involved in the show, whether behind the scenes or on camera. But he came to me and said, what do you think about doing a Reaper once a month? This is great. Let's do it. Because those are the only ones I had to edit. Everything else was just audio on YouTube. And then it turned into, maybe we do 2 a month. And then here we are doing weeklies.
So, but let's talk about that. Like, I don't remember even discussing doing 1 a week in those early days. Was it you and him then behind my back that went, wait a minute, if we're actually going to do this, there's 92 shows.
Yeah.
Coates will be 114 years old by the time, if we wait 1 a month, even bi-monthly, like twice a month, that's not good enough. How did we settle on once a week, bro?
I don't know that we did. I think Theo, he's got a way of convincing us. So it just kind of happened. And at first, for me, it's not a huge deal. I'm not watching the episodes. I don't, spoiler alert. It's, I watched the show years ago. I think I finished up when the last season was in real time, or right before the last season aired. I caught up on everything and then watched the last one as it happened. But I haven't really watched since. I watched a couple here or there, but I can't imagine how you guys keep up with, your busy schedules and then watching the show and taking notes. And
Theo and I are pretty honest when it comes to this part of the show, and that is that we like not to complain because we fuck around with each other. We cut each other down. We love one another. We love you. You're part of the Three Amigos. But I'm not joking here, kids. when you have to be, not have to, but when part of the gig and the job and what you signed on for is you've got to look at the show.
Yeah.
And you've got to take notes of the show. And you got to be able to read those notes of the show. And you realize that Kim Coates has seen 30 of those 92 shows. So even though I remember kind of shooting this shit,
Sure.
I don't remember stuff. And so you've really got to go back and think about it. And now, so it takes a lot of time. And then you have to find the time to get together. And sometimes we're in the middle of a bathroom break, we're on a boat, we're on a mountaintop, who knows? But we have never missed that weekly thing. And that's why you and I are doing this today. Theo is completely not available this weekend. And I've got my second premiere for Neon Lights tomorrow night. By the time this airs, it'll be over. But that's why I couldn't be in Chicago this weekend. But I got to tell you, it is a lot of work and we love doing it and we've loved doing it. And I will say, I don't know what Rossi would say, and I don't really care, but I got to tell you, it's been easier the last since season 5, 6, and 7, because we're so caught up now. Like we're in order. Remember when we were doing crazy what were we thinking?
That was all his idea. That was all him. I don't know. Or maybe you. I'm not sure.
No, it was him. And I went along with it. I'm his deputy, man. He's the sheriff. I mean, what the hell were we thinking, Justin?
I think it was supposed to be more fun to jump around, but I think because I mean, I'm sure, you said you saw maybe 30 of them. Even besides that, you didn't know, scenes that you weren't in. Things like that. Like I'm sure there's tons of storylines that you had no idea were going to happen. And just to go back to the watching and taking notes, it's just funny to me because I can't think of anything more exciting than doing homework while you're watching a show. I'm sure you have to pause because then you're taking your note and you're missing what's happening.
Tordella, it takes me 2 hours to watch an hour show because I'm pausing all the time to write down because Theo can't write anything down. He's all on the phone. He just talks into his phone. So I got to make sure that I keep him on point. I can't have him screwing up and going scenes out of order. So I got to make sure it's really not chicken scratch. You can read the goddamn thing.
Yeah, but I do think it is, pretty incredible to not have missed. I don't consider a week like this a miss. We're still participating.
No, in fact,
in the experiment.
If I just may interrupt again, because that's what I do without Theo on here, because he interrupts me all the time. Is I got to tell you, bro. These are the weeks that people look forward to because that means we still have a couple more to go.
Sure.
Justin, I got to tell you, I watched episode 12 last night.
Wow.
I'm Rose or The Rose or Call Me Rose or
something like that.
I Want to Be a Rose or whatever the fuck the title is. Who cares? I'm telling you what, it's an hour and 27 minutes long. And there isn't a dull, maybe one moment in the whole episode. It's the primo episode, man. I cried. I remembered I'd seen this episode. It's beyond sad. It's beyond tragic. It's beyond Hamlet. It is pure Sutter at his best with all of us doing our part. And it's amazing. And we'll be talking about that on either the next show or who we got coming on, Justin. Who's our special guest coming on?
You know what? It's interesting because I don't think anybody really requested this one. We just went. No, I'm kidding. We got Charlie coming on.
It's a real disappointment. It's a real disappointment. We got Charlie Hunnam coming on.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it in the last episode, and the feedback's been awful. No one's looking forward to it.
No one's looking forward to it.
I think since day one, even when Theo was just doing theory with the interviews, I think we were getting messages daily asking to have him on, and I think this is a great time to have him. Honestly,
well, you were paramount in this about 3 months ago. I threw it out there and you backed me right away. I said, we really have to save the big four to the end.
Sure.
The Charlie, the Katie, the Ronnie, and the Maggie. and we got Maggie, and we got Ronnie, and Katie's a little missing right now. Well, we'll see how that goes. But
yeah,
we got Charlie, and Emilio was like a bonus because he's one of the original gangsters. He had to come on.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait for Charlie, Justin, because that kid is no longer a kid. He's a man now. He's gone through a lot since the end of Sons, and watching him on this 7 seasons of Sons with all the ups and downs with that character and the darkness and he's a hero and then he's an anti-hero and he's fucked it all up. And I don't want to give too much away, but for all of you who want to revisit the 12th episode of season 7, he changes, man. Yeah. Right before our eyes. Did you remember that? Did you see it all, Justin, back in the day?
I did see it all back in the day. So my memory isn't great. When you guys are talking about it, I can remember some of it. It'll come back in flashes. But I do remember seeing, besides as a character, just his growth as an actor. I mean, everybody on the show had it, but you could really see from that first episode to the end. You
saw it with him. Oh, you saw it with Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just a seasoned veteran. I'm a seasoned veteran. That's right. Tommy, seasoned. Booney, Tommy.
No room for improvement there.
No room for improvement. Ronnie, are you kidding me? He burst that whole thing when he popped out of his mama. He was a seasoned veteran at age 3. But Charlie Hunnam,
that's right. And
come on, that long locked kid, season 1 in that candy store. Remember the drugstore? He's getting a pack of smokes and the chick behind the. He looked like he was like 17, 18.
The child. Yeah.
The child.
Yeah. I got to say, maybe we're not supposed to pick favorites, but the Ron episode has been my favorite. I've only met him a couple of times back with.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Tell me about when you met him. Do you remember what that was like? He's a fucking, he's Ron Perlman, man.
Yeah. I met him at one of the boot rides that you guys did years ago.
Yeah, you did.
Where I met you for the first and only time in person. I think I'm trying to remember where that was, some hotel in LA. But I can't remember exactly which one it was that I met Perlman. And then we did, Theo did that Staten Strong nonprofit,
Were you there for that?
Not in person. I was here in Texas, but I put together, me and a buddy of mine here put together a logo, website, all that. So we had tons of videos.
Standing ovation for you, JT. Standing ovation, baby.
I think that was right place at the right time, and really that again. Not to compliment him too much, especially since he's not here. But Theo, really, that's his heart there. Seeing his community hurting and immediately moving to action was pretty awesome. That I think we had met once or twice before, Theo and I, but I think that was when we really started talking more.
Isn't that funny? You should bring that up. There's something about a charity type event that brings the community together, and you really get to, it's not a red carpet. It's not photographers everywhere. It's not a UFC fight where me and Theo have bodyguards. This is called a charity event. This is called raising awareness and money for the unfortunate people who something's hit them hard or they need something hard. And that was Theo's community. And Ronnie was there. I would have been there. I was in Kelowna doing my own charity at the time. I remember that. And I remember all the work that Theo did for Staten Island, and him and Perlman, and we all are, we're attached at the hip. And you really see a true character of somebody at those things. And
absolutely. And it wasn't about, it was very clear that it had nothing to do with them. They would do a little video here or there to update people and it doesn't hurt when you've got one of their faces attached to it, any of your faces attached to something, but it was very much so just about the community. And I really enjoyed that. But yeah, that was back when, Megan and I had met a couple of years before that. We had worked together at the nonprofit. Yeah. We were telling stories about that this
Theo's
weekend.
Beautiful wife, Megan. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember we sat next to each other.
You and Megan?
Office. Yeah. And we became good friends.
Boy, that's called Beauty and the Beast right there. I'll tell you that.
Right. Absolutely. And we would share this, we would open cubes next to us, and there was this big thing of Skittles that was always on the shelf next to us. And we would I would eat them all the time. And then when she told me she was moving, it's like, what am I going to do about snacks now? Like, I can't do this on my own.
What are we going to do?
And I remember pretty much as soon as she got moved in with Theo, when she moved to the East Coast, I got a package a couple of days later from Theo with a bunch of Skittles in it.
Oh, yeah, you
okay,
did.
We're going to get along.
That's so cute.
No, so we've stayed friends on and off for years, and then especially the past couple of years, obviously we've had some forced closeness with the podcast, but it's been great.
That's great. And just going back to what you said about Ron Perlman, about how he was one of your favorite interviews. I mean, there's just some real, I don't know, when Perlman talks, people listen. When he shares, it's like your best friend, your grandpa, your hubby, just your buddy telling stories around a campfire. I mean, and he's got so many of them, and it comes from the heart, that guy. And he's so fucking funny.
Oh yeah. It's funny because it's like, you know what you're going to get with him, but you have no idea because he's going to be honest. I don't think he's going to pretend anything.
No,
but you never know what he's going to say. And I think
we were, and you're part of the team. I wouldn't say we were worried. Right. But we were definitely wondering what Pearl was going to come out of the pea pod that day.
Sure. And we never cut anything. So it was interesting to think, what if, but
what if, it was great. Yeah. What if we need to cut around him, but we never did. And
no,
God, you're kind of amazing at that shit, bro, because me and Theo, I mean, I'm such a nightmare at this technical shit. I can't fucking cope. I can't. I think the one thing, I'm going to miss my camaraderie with my little brother. I'm going to miss my camaraderie with you. Right. I might even miss the show a little bit because I can't believe I've actually watched the fucking thing now. But the one thing I will not miss is the technical Wi-Fi. Why can't you hear me? I freak out all the time. Theo's very good at calming me down. I won't miss any of that. In fact, I don't know if you saw this, Justin, but the other day, and I don't think I've ever done this before, but when these beautiful Reaper reviews are in the rearview mirror, even though they'll always be there to look at and listen to, I'm going to take a month off Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm just going to step away for a while. I think I really need to step away for a while. And the unfortunate thing for me, I'm so lucky this way, is I've got so many charities. And I've got stuff I want to talk about. But the madness that has become on me happily from Reaper reviews and people and artwork and the familia that we've made. Come on, Justin, that you've made on this whole crazy social media. You never want to say goodbye to it, but sometimes I think you just got to step away and reflect. Am I wrong?
Sure. No, I don't think you are. And I think, my mentions on Twitter are crazy, which is different for me. I'm not used to all the tags and the comments and stuff. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, you're in it now. You're in the mix, baby boy.
In terms of things where, my face or where I have myself out there, this is it for me. This is the only thing I've got going on like that. Everything I do is behind the scenes. So I can't imagine. You've got a million other projects. Theo's got a million other projects. So to have people coming at you from every direction, even when it's good, it can be overwhelming, for sure. So I think I really need to Twitter on its own, besides our community, Twitter's a nightmare anyway. I just get angry when I'm on there because all the news.
Well, then how do you keep it together, young man? I've seen you tone down the bullshit. Look at that. I got bullshit. You see the teeth. I played a guy like that down in the South a couple months ago.
That's right.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see that movie. Anyway, honestly, bro, how do you do it? How do you keep it all? Like me and Theo will go, that's good English. Theo and I will go, okay, this fucking gal or this fucking guy, or what's going on here? Or why would they say, and you just go, hang on a sec, boys. I got this. And you've handled every single fire. You've put them all out. Hang on before you start, because I want to hear this. I'm going to say one more thing, Justin. You're like Theo. You're ready to go, and I just have to jump in when I can. Justin, I'm telling you, we have from 2.5 years ago, weeded through. And I remember when Perlman, even with his, like, I can't get political. I really try to, because it's too hard. It's too hard for me to respond all the time. And people know where I believe, where my line is, my science first. They know I'm a liberal. They know all that shit. But for you to weed away all the negative, and now today, with this Sam Fam that we've created, that you've helped create, it's a lot of it is because of you, bro. You've really, okay, well then, tell us, how did you do it all? How did we weed away the people that just wanted to be negative for no other reason but then to be negative?
Yeah, especially in the beginning, I think, I will say first, 99% of people that I've interacted with through this have been incredible.
Good.
Great people. And I think, even though we might be coming to a close on this chapter of the show, we'll see what Theo and I do after, but I think that community lives, for forever. I think there's friendships that were made and almost it's a family to a lot of people. And I think that's incredible. But the other 1%, it's been quiet for a while. I think we did a good job at, trying to kill him with kindness. In the beginning, for me, it was difficult. I took everything personally.
Yeah, you sure did.
Didn't matter what anybody was saying, if it was true, if it was not. I definitely took it personally. I would text you, I'd text Theo, like, what do? I don't know, how to handle it. And you guys were always good at kind of pointing me in the right direction or talking me down a bit, but letting me kind of handle it. And I thought that's been interesting. And I, immediately felt part of the team from the beginning when it was like, these were my decisions to make on what we do. And I really think that was it, was just not giving in and getting, angry, or maybe being angry here at home by myself, but not getting angry back to people, doing my best to just keep things calm and diffuse the situation. And it worked most of the time. But I think especially in the past, 6 months to a year of this, it's chilled out a lot, and it's been almost completely positive, and that's great.
Yeah, I can't tell you how to succeed, but I can tell you how to fail by trying to please everyone. We certainly learned that along the way. And I think it's funny when you start to engage with negativity, sometimes it's better not to engage at all. Sure. But if the negativity keeps coming for whatever reason, and we've done some things that haven't been perfect. We've done some things that maybe have gone off the beaten track a little bit, but they were always based upon what Theo and I and you, JT, thought was fair. Sure. And then along the way, we started getting all these incredible kindness first. And if people think for 1 second that I don't have anxiety or some mental health issues, you're fucking nuts. We all do. Everybody does. And in fact, this movie, Neon Lights, which opened last weekend, Hamilton, sold out 700 tickets, 2 screenings. The reviews are coming out. They're pretty amazing. And now we're doing it again tomorrow night, like I told you. It's literally about mental health. Yeah. Dana Abraham wrote it for himself. Surrounded himself with a bunch of talented people, including my daughter Brenna and myself, I suppose. I'll throw me in there. And I'm telling you right now, the stuff that I had to read to prepare to play this guy that deals with, Dana deals with boyhood trauma, early teenager trauma, turns into a rock star tech guy, then loses it all of it. And he gets his family back to this estate to try and figure out what the fuck happened. And people start to die. And you just don't know what's going on in his head, what's happening. It's a beautiful, 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 very hard to watch at times, Alfred Hitchcockian kind of movie. And I'm pretty proud of it. Anyway, for you to handle what you did do for Theo and I, and like I said, if you get involved with a conversation a lot with some of this negativity, and I'm not saying they're all wrong. I'm not. I'm just trying to understand it. Where does it come from? Why is there anger involved? Then why are people jealous? Why are you cutting that person down? And if you try and fix it all, you're going to end up not doing justice to yourself. Sure. So to have you, Justin, back in the day, really helped Theo and I navigate our way through Reaper Reviews. You were a king, man. You were a king.
No, I was happy to do it. I think this has been it's been a really fun project. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of I going back to what you said about some of the decisions we've made, good or bad. I think that's one thing is we've never done, I don't think, anything without beating a dead horse over and over again to make sure we're making the right decision, whether unfortunately, whether people think it is or not. There's always been a lot of discussion about everything we've done.
Yeah.
And I think, again, not everybody's going to agree with everything, and that's okay. It's just in the way we respond. And I think most of the time we responded correctly when those things came up. But like I said, it's been mostly positive for the past several months. It's been great. A little comment here or there on the YouTube, but those are easy to hide.
No, it's been amazing. All right, now, So before we get to the questions,
sure,
I want to know, like, what do you think you and Theo might be doing? Do you want to keep it under your hat right now? Do you want to keep it on the down low? Are you guys still processing, like, in August when this is all over? Might you take a month off? Do you want to keep it going? What's gonna?
Sure.
Because the old man is running off into the sunset. I'm hopping on my black horse and I'm galloping for the sunset. I'm going to wave at you because a lot of love, but this 2.5 years, are you joking me? How the hell did we even do it? So I'm looking forward to seeing what you and the kid Theo come up with if you guys continue.
I think we have no idea, honestly. We talked about it a little more this weekend, but and I think that fits with the theme so far. It's just kind of
it fucking does.
when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to a lot of the behind the scene decisions of what we're going to do with certain things or how we're going to handle things, lots of thought there. But when it comes to just each episode, it's you just kind of wing it. And I think that's where we're at right now. Is I think we want to keep doing something. We just aren't sure yet. But I'm looking forward to figuring it out.
It's going to be amazing for you two to figure it out, because I think Rossi's so fucking good at this shit. Like, he's just, I would never say that to his face. That's why you're here, Mr. Jubilee. I can tell you, because I would never say this to Theo's face, ever. Not going to happen. No, never. No. He's really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at this. And I think we ham and egg it really, really well. People say that, and it's kind of true. So I think he's got some more stories to tell. I think he's got some more process to think about with his life and share. And I think we've garnered an incredible community of people listening to this podcast for the past 2.5 years, and it's only continued to grow and grow and grow. So I look forward to it, bro. And I'll be at your side, listening from the side, and I'll call in and ask the odd question, smoking my cigarette on my motorcycle.
That's right. We're not going to leave you alone.
So, atta boy.
you know that.
All right, JT, we got a couple of questions. Right. What are some of the peeps asking?
So we actually got quite a few. So I ended up, putting a number to each one and kind of randomizing so that we could, keep it fair. So I'm just going to start from the top. These are in no order. I think you've touched on this a little bit in some of the previous episodes, but when it comes to, getting into a new character, what's your process like? Is there a ritual or something that you go through? Do you have, what is it like?
It's amazing that question. It's such a good question. It keeps getting asked. I don't have any ritual at all. I simply read the script. And it's funny, with this cranium, with this brain that's done so much character work over the last 45 years or so. It's amazing where it goes when I'm reading. And if the script's not very good, I shut it down. It's over. Okay. If the script's good, I'll keep reading and I'll keep reading. And it's amazing where the brain goes as I'm reading. And I know really early, I can sniff it out. It's very palpably, I can feel it. If this is something that might be right for me, or something that I really want to get into, and I don't even know why sometimes, but the writing's got to grab me. It's all about the writing. That's it. And the rest, then we start to figure it all out.
I think even the best performance can't really make up for a bad script. So absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So I guess, keeping on the theme of great writing, have you considered, any future writing projects or directing or branching out?
You know what I do, Justin, is I haven't thought about writing because I get so much given to me to read. I feel very, blessed that way. But I will say that, like Bad Blood, for example, the Simon Barry, Michael Conovis, incredible double duo, writing talented Shakespeare's, both of them. Because I insisted on being a producer on that and they gave it to me happily, I get to give notes.
Yeah.
I give notes. I love being part of the notes. I love making it better. I love making it more real.
Sure.
I love making it more funny. I love making it more whatever it's going to be. And every single director that I work with, including Tom Shulman, who just won an Oscar for Dead Poets Society in the early 90s, who I just worked with in Georgia, even he listens when I change shit and I tell him why. And he goes, yeah, that's it. That's good. That's good. So no, you're not going to see Kim Coates probably writing a script, but you kids have no idea how much I do in the creating of the process when the script is already done. And I enjoy that a lot. Directing, it'll happen. Not yet. Directing takes a lot of time. You got to find the right piece. I've been given stuff to direct before, and it just hasn't been the right piece yet or the right time. You have to, when you direct a piece, you have to have it. You have to rewrite it, or you have to take the notes on it. Then you have to get your producers. Then you have to get your cast. Then you got to raise your money. Then you got to shoot it. Then you got to edit it. Then you got to put music to it. And before you know it, that's 2 years of your life. And I'm not saying that shouldn't be the most happy 2 years of your artistic life if you want to direct something and you're lucky enough to be offered it. But that's I'm still acting too much and I'm still producing too much to delve into directing just yet. But I will.
Sure, that's great. I think that's good insight into the process, knowing that they trust you and listen to you on projects, and rightfully so. You've done a couple films and TV shows here or there, so
yeah,
that's good that they listen, and apparently it's worked.
I guess
I'm looking forward to seeing these new ones. So actually, I want to touch on this one just because I thought it was fun, and it's a selfish question for me. Somebody asked who your favorite Red Wing is, past or present.
Yeah, no, that's easy. It's Gordie Howe.
Yeah, I figured the Sox.
I mean, the Sox, that's Stevie. Well, yeah, I'm about to tell everybody now, but the Sox are actually Stevie Eiserman.
Oh man, I messed up.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Those are Stevie Eiserman Sox, but Stevie's probably I don't have favorites after Gordie. They're all
sure.
Bobby Probert. I mean, my God, Osgood. We can go on and on and on. Illich, who owned the whole. I can go on and on. But Gordie Howe, when I was 6 or 7 years old, grade 1, grade 2, Saskatoon, Leaf fan. Always will be a Leaf fan. But someone at school said to me, "Hey, did you know Gordie Howe was born here?" And I went, "Really?" I went home. I said, "Dad, is that true? Was Gordie Howe born in Saskatoon?" He says, "Get in the car, little black Edsel, pour in this car, drive about 8-9 minutes to Floral, Saskatchewan, right in the outskirts of Saskatoon." He said, "That's Gordie's house right there." And I said, "No way." I said, "Dad, I'm sorry to tell you this," because he was a big Leaf fan. I said, "I'm now a Red Wing fan." So I became a Red Wing fan when I was like grade 2, something like that.
That's awesome.
And Gordie Howe, I got to meet him one time only in an airport. And I'm not kidding you, JT. I shook his hand and his hand just took over my entire arm, my forearm up to my leg. He's just one of the biggest guys, strongest guys,
awesome.
Kindest guys in the world. But yeah, Gordie Howe's he's my boy. And
I had to ask because I couldn't stand the Red Wings when I was a kid.
No, you hated it.
This was the early 90s, mid 90s, when they were just, them and the Devils were a big rivalry. And I was
big rivalry. And then Colorado. Who's your team?
Boy. My team was the Devils. I haven't watched in a couple of years.
Well, they won you a few cups, 3, I think.
Absolutely. And
we're lucky, you and me, at our generation. I'm older than you, man. I mean, the Wings finally won me 4 cups.
Yep.
I'd never seen them win. Their last win was like 1957. I was born in 58. So for them to finally win 4, and the Devils, come on, Brodeur and I talked. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're a fan of his. He's one of the greatest goalies of all time.
Oh, absolutely. But now looking back, you couldn't deny the Red Wings were crazy. They were great.
Yeah, they were built the right way, man. When they got Stevie Eiserman, when they drafted him in 1983, all of a sudden, mid-90s, here we go. We started being up for cups, and they finally started winning them. It was great.
That's right. Obviously, I think everybody knows by now that you were on Mayans a couple weeks ago. One question that came in that I thought was really interesting was, do you think that doing this whole process with the podcast, watching all the episodes, does that help you get back into TIG pretty easily? Or do you think you would have been able to do it either way, without revisiting?
What a great question. I don't know. I'm not, I will say this, that when the call came and I was sitting down and they answered my questions that, like, you got to write for me. I can't just go in there and break up a fight or have nothing to do. I have no interest in being a cameo. I need to. And when Elton James said, no, we're going to do the best we can. You're an iconic character. Obviously, we want to do you justice. And when they sent me the first draft and I said yes, and the money was right and all that was right, I'm not sure I would have had too much trouble when that cut went on, and that when I was, putting on a wardrobe fitting and that cut was on and the leather underneath and the jeans again and new boots and the same knife and the bangles for my drawers and the rings and the right hands. My hair was long. I don't know, bro. I think I would have found it anyway. But how ironic was that Theo and I and you are doing these goddamn Who Cares podcasts, and we're watching Sons once a week, and to see how Tig moved and talked and walked, and because I haven't watched the show that much. Yeah, that probably soaked right up into me and I didn't even know it.
Sure. Yeah, I think like you said, it probably would have come to you anyway. I'm sure it would have, like you said, it's like riding a bike again. You did it for so long.
It sure was. Did you see the show, by the way?
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen
That's
clips.
All right. I
gotta watch the episode though.
I finally saw it. Saw it like a week ago when I got back to LA. I didn't have it in my TV in my place up in Canada, and where I was filming. I think maybe I was in Halifax at the time. It doesn't matter. I finally saw it, and it was powerful, man. It was me and Emilio.
I know the response has been incredible. It's
really weird and wild to see me back after 8 years since the show's been over. Yeah. Absolutely. And to do it with Emilio was something special.
That's awesome. You talk a lot about the Shakespeare connection with Sons. What do you think there's a certain Shakespeare character that's most similar to Tig?
That'd be hard to answer because at the beginning of this whole thing, Justin, we all wondered, well, we know Charlie's Jax, we know Gertrude's, okay, that's Gemma. Claudius, that's easy, that's Ron. Who's Horatio? It's got to be Ryan. And Horatio is the only one who lives in the fucking end, right? Well, he didn't last till the end. So it's pretty hard I think the Hamlet thing gets overused, if I may.
Sure.
I think the theme of Hamlet went all the way through Sons for sure. Ophelia, Tara, or Wendy. We're not sure. Maybe a combo of both. Probably Wendy, but wait, Tara dies, not Wendy. And Ophelia, one of the most gruesome taking your own life deaths ever in Shakespeare. So we could talk about that till the cows come home. But I do know that when I watched the show last night, the episode 12, Justin, and we're not going to talk about it here. We'll wait till your little brother, Theo Rossi, comes back from his gallant adventures in Chi-Town. A lot of people die in 12.
Yeah.
And a lot happens in 12 before we send people off in 13. And Shakespeare's at the front and center of all of it, with ghosts, with all kinds of shit happening in that fucking show. So, no, I don't know if Tig is any one character or not, but I think that's the joy of playing Tig, right? He had so many elements of his internal workings. That boy was very complicated and tough and sad and funny and comforting and psychotic and all kinds of shit going on with him. So whatever Shakespeare character it was, or a combination of a few, it was sure fun to play.
Oh, absolutely. And I just back to the episode 12, I think these next two are going to be, or these last two, it's going to be really interesting to see how you fit it all in to one chat, because I do remember there's so much going on.
How are we going to do it? I mean, maybe we break them up. But people like to hear it all in one. No, we're going to rifle through, man.
I think
And
so,
whether you're just going to have to keep smoking your cigarettes, which you never do,
no,
and your pot, which I'm not sure you do,
it's
and
hard to
have your
say.
little shot of whiskey once in a while if you want, because you're going to have a lot of work to do. These next two, especially 12, it's nonstop talking.
gonna be
I got
fun,
a lot
though.
to say.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. One thing that came up a handful of times was you working with your daughter on some stuff recently, and I'd love to know, how that's been, and I'd imagine that's got to be pretty powerful stuff for you.
It is, Justin. It's pretty great. You got kids, man. I mean, they're young, but Brenna's a true talent. She's just a true talent, and I know I'm her dad, and I'm biased and all that, but she's got more talent than me. She's young. She's got it all going on, and she's doing it the right way. Theater, NYU, Tisch Acting Academy, got her degree. Broadway, winning awards on Broadway for the play called The Wolves. Obie Drama Desk Award. Then she comes right to Toronto to do Jerusalem with her old man, me, in 2018. Then she's off doing more stage. Now she's doing movies and a little TV here and there. The only thing that's tough for Brenna and all these young artists, and we talk about it all the time, is the world's changed since COVID. It's all Zoom. It's all like you and me right here. Normally, you'd be right there. I'd be going, hey buddy, high five. Right. Touching your hand, little contact. These young artists have to get parts just on Zoom, self-tape. And I'm not complaining for Brenna because she's killing it, but everyone needs and desires more. So I hope the world continues to change for the better. But to be with Brenna and work with her on Neon Lights, even though I don't have really any scenes with her, I've one. But to watch her work on the monitor and to watch Ruz Bayadari, this beautiful Canadian-Iranian director who directed the piece, and he's amazing, to work with her and give her some counsel and some ideas and have her be so strong and committed and subtle. She plays this therapist. I mean, it's just beautiful to watch. I'm just so proud. I'm like a dad. I mean, I don't know if you saw any photos from last week's premiere in Hamilton, but they're everywhere now. And we'll have more this coming Sunday. So to answer your question, everyone knows this in the Sam fam. When you're lucky enough to have, whether you have your aunt and uncle and you got nephews and nieces, or you got kids or you don't, or you have just great buddies that you can share everything with. For me to share shit like this with Brenna, my daughter, in the profession that I chose, I stumbled into it. She was picked to be an actor as soon as she came out of Diana. And we're all proud of her. Yeah, it's been special to be a part of.
So I guess the stumbling into acting, did you have a backup plan?
No.
What would you be doing?
I'd be working in a pool hall. I'd be working in a pool hall, bro. I'd be driving muscle cars. I'd be trying to, audition to coach the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was such a jock. Still am. I was all sports. Didn't know what a soliloquy was. I heard of Shakespeare. We did a little bit of him in grade 11 and grade 12, but come on. To stumble into acting like I did in college when I was going to be a history teacher because I loved history. Churchill's my hero. I could go on and on and on about history and the love of history that I have and I will always have. But acting was a stumble. I found it. It found me. And if you want to believe in destiny or fate, do you believe in that shit, Justin?
It's hard to say. Maybe.
Tell me your thoughts on that, because I'm curious about that. Like, do you think things happen for a reason or not really, or you make them happen, or?
I don't know. I think it's maybe a combination of both. I think in most ways you gotta make things happen. If you're just sitting around, things probably aren't going to happen. The things happening for a reason is difficult for me, because then how do I reconcile with all the terrible things that happen?
Correct.
But
I agree.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
I just know that when you figure out how you meet certain people, or the happenstance moment that and then they become your best pal, or you end up marrying that girl or that guy or whatever. I just find that, wow, something's going on out there.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
But when it works out, it's really something to talk about and keeps you warm inside for sure.
Absolutely. No, I like that. So I don't know how much time we have left.
I'm going to tell you right now. We're going to talk about Rossi coming up, but let's do one or two more, and then we'll talk about Rossi.
Let me give you one more.
Sure.
And I'm not even sure how much you can say, but are you able to tell us any more about some of your upcoming roles, like from White House Plumbers or Southern Gothic or anything like that?
Yeah. First of all, I think White House Plumbers, it should have been out in May, and we shouldn't be concerned. I think it's still going to be kind of phenomenal when it comes out, but Discovery ended up buying part of Warner's, which was part of HBO Max. So everything's in flux right now. And I know they spent a shit ton of money on White House Plumbers, like over 100 million. So it's not going to sit on the shelf. It's coming out eventually. And I wish I knew when, but they're being very, very tight-lipped. So you'll hear it when I hear about that, peeps. Southern Gothic, I think we changed the title to Double Down South. Okay. I think people thought that was more of a horror movie with the Gothic thing in there. I think Tom Schulman, he knows what he's doing. I think it's called Double Down South now. It's trying to get into Toronto, one of the biggest film festivals in the planet. So if it does, we're well on our way. If it doesn't, then we'll get into other film festivals. It's going to do the festival circuit this fall, but before we sell it and stuff. So you won't see that for a while, but you might be lucky enough to see it at one of these festivals coming up.
That's great.
And that's the life we live. And speaking of that, like our little brother, Theo Rossi, like he's about to do a movie coming up. He's leaving Chicago back home for a minute and a half. Then he's on a plane right away. He's gone for a month. So the next time you see Theo, everybody, he's going to be in some hotel room somewhere. But can we just talk for 1 second what it must be like to wake up being Theo fucking Rossi? I mean,
I'm not sure he knows.
Tordella, not only does he not know, he doesn't want to know. But I have to tell you, I've known that kid now since 2008. What is that? 14 years now?
Yeah.
14 years. And man, oh man, I can't even, we could do a podcast for 3 years going over some of the shit that he and I have done together. Like no joke. But there's been a real awakening and something with him for me. Not only has he become an incredible father and best friend and husband and all that, but his acting, like lately, like, are you even fucking kidding me? I remember him being so honest on the ReaperReviews, Justin. I don't know, maybe season 1 or 2. And Theo had this thing with his jaw. Whenever he got tense, he did this thing with his jaw. And he was honest enough in these ReaperReviews to talk about that and watch it, because you'd have to watch the episodes and write about it. And I remember being with him. He was always in the trailer beside me. Me, Tommy, and Theo were always in a triple banger. And I remember telling him, I'd grab his jaw and I'd go, hey, what are you doing? Get rid of that tension. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. And whether it worked 100%, 20%, it doesn't matter, because today, years later, and he gets so good in the end of Sons of Anarchy. I mean, he's really figured it out. And I can't say this enough to everybody out there listening to be an actor or watch acting. You can't act. If you act, they see it. You have to feel it and listen. You have to listen and then respond. And then I'm not saying you can't act. And look at me in Waterworld. I mean, I'm acting my face off, but I'm not acting. I'm the guy. I've turned into the guy, and I wasn't afraid to fail, because I was way over the top of that Irish crazy man. But Theo, he keeps me buoyant. He keeps me pretty fucking happy. He wears me the fuck out because he's a lot of energy. How is he with you, bro? Our little boy, Theo Rossi.
He's been great. You know, on a personal level, he's been, always been there and helpful with anything that's going on. And that's been great. He's, been great to my kids when we've gotten together over the past several years. And you're absolutely right about, just his abilities. And I think you can tell he's gotten very comfortable, or at least it seems like it, in playing these big roles. I remember telling him,
you nailed it.
I remember telling him, when he did, what was it, American Skin, I said, I watched it and I texted him shortly after and I said, I got to tell you, buddy, you really, you blew me away in that. Cause I said, I couldn't stand you. I said,
that's
you're
a compliment.
one of my closest friends. But if that was you, I would never talk to you again. I couldn't do it. And then, seeing him do, true story and really get into the character of Gene and really kind of live it. And like you said, just become the character and not act it. I think that was incredible. But I think he's worked, well, you as well. Both of you really throughout this whole thing have worked on a million projects.
We haven't stopped. I mean,
no.
Theo and I need to talk about that, JT. I think we need to kind of count them up.
I think so. And I think that's the funny thing about the podcast is at least the way that I understood it was this was just, you guys weren't going to be busy for a while. So that was the plan. Nobody knew what the world was going to look like. So I was like, oh, we'll do the podcast because, nothing's going to go on. And then you guys took 2 weeks off and you were back at it.
Yeah. Well, I think we started in that May, June of 2020, April, May, something like that.
Yeah.
And then in Canada, things opened up before America in that August, September. In fact, Theo's first work in the pandemic was up in Hamilton.
Yeah.
That Theo and the Corn movie, Theo and the Cornfield movie, that was up in Hamilton in Canada. So we haven't stopped since that August, like 2 years ago, exactly almost, right up until now. We'll go over all that shit. And speaking about Rossi, I mean, Emily the Criminal. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be great.
Like, holy crap fest! It looks amazing, and I remember all his, his concern about the accent and all the work and all that. And I went, no, man, this is right up your alley. I mean, be scared of saying yes to this guy. Yeah. And based on the trailer and all the shit that happened in Sundance for that kid, this could be really something. It's opening in August. I can't wait to see it.
I can't either. I remember, like you said, the kind of the process of getting into it and, him kind of telling me a little bit about working with some of the cast, and it sounds like it's going to be a really fun watch. The trailer, like I said, is great. So really looking forward to that one.
All right, you Juicy Jubilee, you JT Juicy Jubilee, me with no T doing no T today. I mean, this has been the most fun I've had on this because there was no Theo fucking Rossi. You know what I think of Theo. This has been such a reprieve of that guy riding me. We miss you, Theo. We love you, little buddy. JT, we can't do this without you, bro. You get the final word. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you guys and all the hard work. Like you said, it hasn't been easy for a number of reasons. I think people don't realize a lot of podcasts. I mean, you just walk in, you sit down in a chair at the studio and you talk. Everything's set up. You've got people that did all that.
Correct.
You usually aren't doing them from bathrooms or restaurants or things like that. So I know it's been a challenge at times, and I know you guys have handled it without complaints, unless they were funny.
Exactly.
And I think I definitely appreciate that. And I know all the listeners, the Sam fam, I know they appreciate it as well.
Well, we love you, buddy. And I know from me to you, love to the family. And I see you every week, and I see you sometimes sprinkled out during the week. And thanks for doing this. And next week's going to be a big one too. So send this out to the peeps when you're supposed to. And we love you, JT. Thanks for doing the Jubilee.
Thanks, buddy. Love you.
See you, buddy.
See you later.
Love you, man.
Bye.